Madam Speaker did warmly welcome the guest to the Assembly.
In the other announcement, Madam Speaker gave guidance to the House in line with Article 89(2) of the Constitution of Zambia concerning consideration of the report of the Parliamentary Reforms and Modernization Committee. Madam Speaker stated that the Parliamentary Reforms and Modernization Committee was classified under the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024 as a housekeeping committee which dealt with in-house matters hinging on the powers, privileges and procedures and practices, organization and facilities of the Assembly, and that as such the debate on the report of the committee would be held in camera.
In view of the foregoing, she directed that when debating the report, all members of the public and the media should leave the House, and further that broadcasting of the proceedings on Parliament radio, television and social media would be suspended.
After those announcements, Madam Speaker did render a ruling. Madam Speaker reminded the House that on Tuesday, 15th July 2025, when the House was considering the ministerial statement by the Minister of Community Development and Social Services on the impact of the social cash transfer and cash for work programs, and the Minister, Honorable Mwamba MP, had just finished responding to a follow-up question by Mr. Simulenga, Member of Parliament for Kwacha, whether the House was in order to continue recognizing Ms. T. Lungu MP as Member of Parliament. The point of order arose from the alleged submission by the former First Lady, Mrs. Esther Lungu, to the South African High Court that her family, of which Ms. Lungu MP was a member, did not intend to return to Zambia due to safety concerns.
Madam Speaker stated that the point of order raised an issue of whether a member who was outside the country had no intention of returning should continue to be recognized as a member of Parliament. She further explained that Ms. T. Lungu MP had been absent from the House following the death of her father, the 60th Republican President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, on Thursday, 5th June 2025 in Pretoria, South Africa, and that the late former president was yet to be put to rest. She stated that Ms. T. Lungu MP was in South Africa awaiting the court's determination regarding the repatriation of the body of the late former president. She also stated that she was aware that there were ongoing government and the Lungu family to resolve the matter outside court.
In her ruling, Madam Speaker stated that Ms. T. Lungu MP had requested for leave of absence to enable her to attend to the ongoing court proceedings in South Africa regarding the burial place of her late father. Madam Speaker further stated that the issue relating to the continued recognition of Ms. T. Lungu as Member of Parliament would be addressed at a later date, and also that while she recognized the sad state of affairs regarding the funeral of the late former president and the need for Ms. T. Lungu MP to mourn and put her father to rest, she was also alive to the need for the people of Chawama Parliamentary constituency to be represented.
And in conclusion, that ruling, she said that Madam Speaker directed Ms. T. Lungu MP in absentia to present herself to either her office or the House within 14 days after the burial of her late father, or within 14 days of the opening of the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly. So those were the announcements and the ruling that the Right Honourable made last week on Friday.
After that, one agent matter without notice was raised under Standing Order 142, and this one came from Solowezi East Member of Parliament, Mr. Alex Katakwe, on the subject matter on the measures being taken to prevent road traffic accidents in Mushindamo area in Solowezi East Parliamentary constituency following an accident that occurred on the Chingola-Solowezi Road at Lunga Bridge involving a Likiliki bus and an abnormal load vehicle on 24th July 2025 that killed some passengers. This matter was inadmissible. After
the consideration of the first item on the order paper last week, we did witness Her Honor the Vice President's question time, the 45 minutes allocated to members of Parliament to ask Her Honor questions without notice, and we did see quite a number of members of Parliament posing questions to the Republican Vice President.
After that, the House considered question for oral answer number 392 under Standing Order 82. The House also considered group questions for oral answers for oral answer number 393 and 394 under Standing Order 83.
Dr. Chitalu Chelufia, who is the chairperson of the Committee on Parastatal Bodies, did move a motion urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Parastatal Bodies on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of parastatal bodies on the statutory institutions for the financial year ended 31st December 2023 for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly. The document was laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 23rd July 2025. When the question was put, the report was adopted.
After that, Chimba Milonga, Member of Parliament, Mr. Elias Musonda, also moved a motion urging the House to adopt the report of the Parliamentary Reforms and the Modernization Committee on enhancing the participation of the public in the work of Parliament for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 22nd July 2025.
And it being 12:55 hours, the first Deputy Speaker did interrupt the proceedings, and the debate on the motions to adjourn. It was Mr. Kampyongo who was on the floor of the House debating. So today, once the motion, there will be resumption of consideration of that motion, Mr. Kampyongo will continue debating. The House did adjourn at 12:55 hours. So that's a business that was considered on the floor of the House last week on Friday. I'd like to welcome you, those of you that are following us on our social platforms, saying thank you so much. Matimba, let's quickly look at what is expected to be considered on the floor of the House, and any minute from now you'll be able to see the Right Honourable Madam Speaker making the way to the chamber. That will signify the commencement of today's business.
Yes, President, today, Tuesday, 29th July 2025, we expect announcements. If there will be any urgent matters without notice, we have a ministerial statement that is expected to be presented by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation on the state visit undertaken by the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema.
We expect one question for oral answer. I'll be able to share with you the details of that question, but we also have bills that are coming at different stages. The Superior Courts, a number of judges bill, National Assembly Bill number 15 of 2025 coming up at second reading, the Border Management and Trade Facilitation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2025. This one is coming up at report stage.
We also expect Chavuma, Member of Parliament, to move a motion urging the House to adopt the report of the Zambian delegation to the 57th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum SADIC PF Plenary Assembly held in Victoria Falls City, Zimbabwe from 31st May to 7th June 2025 for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 25th July 2025.
The other bill that is expected to be considered on the floor of the House is coming up at third reading stage, and this is the National Road Fund Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2025. Remember, we did talk about resumption of the consideration of the report of the Parliamentary Reforms and Modernization Committee of July 25th, July 2025, and it was Mr. Kampyongo who was on the floor of the House debating. We have a question, Matimba, details of that question.
This question is expected to come from Serenje, Member of Parliament, Mr. George Kandapula, and who will be directing this question to the Minister of Energy. And so on your screen is Madam First Deputy Speaker's procession making its way to the chamber. Keep watching Parliament Television. Good afternoon.
Honorable Members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Land of work and glory, unity, victors in the struggle for our rights. We want freedom's fight for one, strong and free. Africa.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. These have come. These have come. All right, okay. Order, honorable members. I have 4 announcements to make. Honorable members, I wish to acquaint the House with the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of the following members of Parliament and staff from the Parliament of Kenya, who are accompanied by officials from Westminster Foundation for Democracy, the Kenya office. Honorable Abid Shure, MP, Chairperson of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee and leader of the delegation. Honorable Omboko Milemba, MP, member of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee and member of the Speaker's panel. Honorable Dr. Robert Pukuse, MP, Vice Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee. Honorable Sukuya George Risa, MP, member Finance and Planning Committee. Mr. Chachacha Machenge, Senior Fiscal Analyst, Parliamentary Budget Office and Delegation Secretary. Mr. Livingston O. Bume, Senior Deputy Director, National Treasury, Public Debt Management Office. Ms. Josephine Cherotti, Principal Resource Mobilization Officer, National Treasury, Public Debt Management Office. Ms. Maureen Oduri, WFD Country Director. Mr. Henry Benjamin Awino, WFD Program Coordinator. I wish on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia to receive our distinguished guests and warmly welcome them in our midst. I thank you. The next announcement. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Chisamba Boarding Provincial STEM School in Chisamba District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may be seated. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of councillors and UPND officials from Mumbwa Parliamentary Constituency Office in Mumbwa District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. The last announcement. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Hope of Glory School in Kabwe District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may be seated. We make progress. Urgent matters without notice. Though it's our last week, few days before we adjourn, please let's make use of this week to visit the minister's offices so that we might have answers as we go back to the constituencies. The Honorable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, thank you for giving the people of Chiengi to rise on these very important matters of, without notice. Madam Speaker, this is directed to the Minister of Local Government and Infrastructure, I think, but I've seen that he's not yet in, so I will direct it to the Leader of Business, the House, her owner.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, on the 27th of January 2025, 21 councillors from Chongwe were suspended. And according to the law, it takes only 6 months for them to be reinstated. Today is the 29th of July, and they've not yet been reinstated. Now, Madam Speaker, this has deprived the people of Chongwe of representation by their councillors, and also those families which are dependent on these councillors. They've been deprived of their right to be represented. So I would like to find out, Madam Speaker, through you, as to why the government has deliberately ignored the needs of the people of Chongwe. As you are aware, Madam Speaker, the administrator cannot run the affairs of the council for more than 6 months. I seek your indulgence, Madam Speaker. There are families which are really dependent on this. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Member for Chiengi. This matter does not qualify, Honorable Member, as an urgent matter without notice, because you clearly mentioned that something happened in January, is it 2025? So this is an old matter. It's not new. These matters are matters that are supposed to be raised within 24 hours after their occurrence. So the Honorable Member for Chiengi will find another platform to bring that matter back to the House. The Honorable Member for Mongu Central.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The matter I wish to raise, the matter without notice I wish to raise is directed at the Minister of Home Affairs, but in his absence, I will direct it to the Leader of the Government in the House.
You may proceed.
Madam Speaker, we are aware that the Zambian people hate brutality and corruption. Hence, they kicked out the former ruling party from government. The newspaper of yesterday reported that they paid 75 million kwacha to a company that delivered nothing. We are rising on Friday, Madam Speaker, and it's the expectation of the people of Mongo that as I go back to report to them, I will tell them what the Minister of Home Affairs has done to these people who looted the 75 million kwacha. I need to report back, Madam Speaker. Is the Minister of Home Affairs or the Leader for Government Business in the House in order to sit quietly without providing an answer to the people of Mongo Central, where this 75 million kwacha the PF government looted has gone to? I seek your serious knowledge, Madam Speaker.
The honorable member for Mongu Central. Again, these are old issues that have been coming out. I recall the former Minister of Local Government, when he was addressing the House, he clearly mentioned that there were some projects where people supplied air. So this is not a new matter. The honorable member for Mongu Central will find another platform. The honorable member for Mukushi South.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. Madam Speaker, I wish that we could have also included the 61 containers of medicine that this UPND government are still hiding, and the 290 million kwacha, Madam Speaker, which has gone missing on the medicine that is being hidden somewhere, when the people of Zambia are still suffering for the medicine that is required for them. Madam Speaker, I wish to raise the matter of public importance on the Minister of Energy, or is there? Madam Speaker, at the time when we saw that UPND is slowly reducing the price of fuel, in the night, Madam Speaker, they are increasing power. Today, when you buy, Madam Speaker, power of 100 kwacha, it's 26 units. When we used to buy 100 kwacha for 30, 40 units. Madam Speaker, we know that UPND is going to be voted out next year. The Zambian people have already decided. They have made a decision for them to go. But this does not make them to start increasing prices, even when they know that the economic hardship for Zambians is very bad. Madam Speaker, is the Minister of Energy in order to increase the price of electricity without coming and inform this House, so that we go and inform our people in the constituencies that the UPND are going to increase power this month, Madam Speaker? I seek your serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
The honorable member for Mukushi South, do we have evidence of that increment?
Evidence is here.
I have it, Madam Speaker. I was buying units on the phone.
It's always here. Evidence is always here.
The honorable member for Mukushi, I think you've been in this parliament for a long time. I'm sure you know the requirements for laying down a document on the table. You don't have a document, so that your matter does not qualify. You failed to produce evidence to show that indeed there have been an increment where electricity is concerned. So it's not admissible. We make progress. I have permitted the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to present a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Madam Speaker, I have the honor and privilege to render this ministerial statement to the House on the state visit to the Arab Republic of Egypt, which was undertaken by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, from 23rd to 25th February 2025 at the invitation of His Excellency Mr. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, President of the Arab Republic of Egypt. This visit underscored Zambia's commitment to deepening its bilateral and multilateral engagements in line with the aspirations of our 8th National Development Plan, 8th NDP, Vision 2030, and the Sustainable Development Goals. Madam Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable Minister, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The objectives of the visit. The key objectives of the state visit were two, inter alia. One, strengthen bilateral relations, reinforce our historical and strategic ties with Egypt across political, economic, social, and cultural spheres. Two, address shared developmental challenges, that is to collaborate on practical solutions in energy, agriculture, infrastructure, health, ICT, and climate resilience. 3, promote trade and investment, that is to enhance market access and identify bankable projects to drive private sector-led growth. 4, facilitate business-to-business partnership, that is to support local Zambian businesses to forge joint ventures with Egyptian counterparts, advancing technology transfer and local value addition. The delegation and strategic focus. Madam Speaker, the Zambian delegation comprised, obviously, His Excellency the President as delegation leader, myself, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Honorable Chipoka Mlenga, MP, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Honorable Charles Milupi, MP, Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Elijah Mtima, MP, Minister of Health, Honorable Engineer Collins Nzovu, MP, Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, Honorable Engineer Peter Kapala, MP, Minister of Fisheries and Livestock, together with our ambassador in Cairo, senior government officials, representative statutory bodies, and the Zambian business executives. The delegation's engagements were guided by the key pillars of the 8th National Development Plan, particularly economic transformation and job creation, human and social development, and environmental sustainability. Key bilateral outcomes. 1. Bilateral talks and political consultations. Madam Speaker, the heads of state reaffirmed the shared political will to enhance cooperation in political, economic, and social developmental spheres. They committed to deepening mutual support in multilateral fora, including the AU and COMESA, and 2, advocating jointly on African priorities such as climate change financing, poverty reduction, and the restriction of global debt, and the restructuring of the global debt architecture. The two leaders further called for institutionalizing dialogue through the establishment of structured political consultations to be held at ministerial and senior officials level on an annual basis. Second, signing of memoranda of understanding, MOUs. Madam Speaker, to anchor these engagements on concrete frameworks, the following 5 MOUs were signed. 1, establishment of political consultations. 2, cooperation in agriculture. 3, cooperation in plant quarantine and phytosanitary matters. 4, cooperation in livestock development. And 5, technical cooperation on redevelopment of urban towns and sub-centers in Zambia. Additionally, during the visit, the Zambia-Egypt Business Forum, 4 infrastructure-focused MOUs were signed, aimed at the construction of critical transport corridor and bridges to unlock trade routes under the Lobito Corridor and beyond. Third, specific economic and infrastructure commitments. Of note, Madam Speaker, the visit attracted private investment pledges of close to 500 million United States of America dollars. I repeat, Madam Speaker, of note, the visit attracted private sector investment pledges of close to 500 million United States of America dollars, targeting 1, joint venture with Toyota, Chusho, and Elswidi Electric to establish 2 100-megawatt solar plants in Kafue and Mongu by 2026. 2, scale up of the existing ZESCO Elswidi partnership for local manufacturing of transformers and prepaid meters targeting at least 40% local subcontracting to build Zambian SME capacity. And 3, participation of Arab contractors in strategic bridge and road infrastructure with explicit provisions for technology transfer and local skills development. 4th, agriculture, livestock, and fisheries cooperation. The delegation held technical discussions with Egypt's Agricultural Research Center and Veterinary Serum and Vaccine Research Institute, focusing on vaccine production for diseases such as FMD, CBPP, Newcastle, anthrax, with joint research programs to be rolled out by Q1 of 2026. Support to Zambia's smart agriculture ambitions through training in biotechnology, irrigation technologies, and climate resilient practices, and capacity building arrangements and scholarships under the Egyptian International Center for Agriculture, targeting at least 50 Zambian professionals over the next 3 years. The delegation from the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock also explored collaboration with Egypt's Central Laboratory for Aquaculture Research on genetic improvement and disease management in aquaculture. Fifth, water resource management and environmental sustainability. Madam Speaker, recognizing that water is critical to our agricultural and industrial aspirations, the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation held bilateral discussions with the Egyptian Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. Areas agreed for cooperation include water harvesting, recycling and desalination, management of non-revenue water, and maintenance of irrigation infrastructure. An MOU on water cooperation is expected to be finalized by the end of 2025, supporting Zambia's SDG 6 commitments. Tourism, development, and heritage management. Madam Speaker, the guided tour of the Giza pyramids was not merely ceremonial. It facilitated dialogue on how Egypt has leveraged heritage conservation to build a tourism sector that contributes 11% to GDP. Zambia seeks to draw lessons for improving the management and marketing of our own rich cultural and natural heritage sites. To this end, the Zambia Tourism Agency will commence technical exchanges with the Egyptian Tourism Authority in the fourth quarter of 2025, aimed at jointly designing tourism circuits and conservation financing models. Implementation frameworks and risk mitigation. Madam Speaker, in order to actualize these commitments, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation has prepared a comprehensive action matrix detailing specific deliverables, responsible institutions, and timelines for all MOUs and bilateral initiatives, and a requirement that all major projects incorporate local content, SME participation, and capacity building plans aligned to Zambia's local content strategy. Furthermore, to mitigate risks often associated with such international engagements, such as project delays, imbalance in partnerships, or weak local benefits, an interministerial steering committee has been constituted. This committee will review progress on a quarterly basis, provide updates to Cabinet and this August House, and ensure due diligence on all investments. Alignment with Zambia's developmental agenda. Madam Speaker, the engagements undertaken during the state visit directly advance Zambia's aspirations under the 8th National Development Plan aforementioned by diversifying the economy into energy, agriculture, tourism, and manufacturing, strengthening our human capital through technology transfer and targeted training, improving our transport and trade facilitation infrastructure, thereby positioning Zambia as a regional logistics hub under the COMESA and Africa Free Continental Trade Area frameworks. Conclusion. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, the state visit to the Arab Republic of Egypt was not merely a diplomatic exchange, but a strategic exercise in economic diplomacy. It is expected to yield tangible benefits for our people, including new jobs, increased foreign direct investment, enhanced food security, modern infrastructure, and a more resilient economy. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation will continue to engage line ministries, the private sector, and our partners in Egypt to ensure full and timely implementation of all agreed areas. I shall, in due course, Madam Speaker, provide a detailed biannual progress report to this August House on the status of these initiatives. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and Internal Cooperation. The Honorable Member for Kwacha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity given to ask a follow-up question on the ministerial statement just delivered by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Relations. Honorable Minister, thank you for that well-detailed ministerial statement on how Zambia is trying to market itself. And also I want to thank the President Hakainde Hichilema, for making sure that we bring investment, direct foreign investment into the country. Honorable Minister, I would like to find out, as you were having those discussions in Egypt, if at all, at any stage, you engaged the Egyptian government on how peace can be restored in the Middle East, particularly in Egypt, in Israel and Gaza, looking at how troubled that area is as we speak right now. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much to the Honorable Member for Kwacha for the question that he has asked. Madam Speaker, I would like to confirm that with each and every engagement that we have with our foreign partners, one of the key areas of discussion will always be matters relating to peace, security, and stability. As the Honorable Member will be aware, our policy underscores that instability anywhere is instability everywhere. So those discussions were had, and of course on the framework of the international law and the rules-based order of the world. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. An Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, thank you for this very detailed statement. We commend the government for that. But, Madam Speaker, the people of Kantanshi have observed that the President equally made a very important working visit from the 3rd of February to the 7th of February. And then he proceeded to Japan from the 23rd to the 24th. Now, I wanted to find out, why haven't we heard anything that was achieved from this working visit, especially the delegation that went to Japan is almost similar to the delegation that went to Egypt. And further to that, if you are able to also share some of the immediate benefits that have come out of those pledged investments, if at all any. I know that you mentioned that in due course you will be able to share with the nation, but if at all there's any traction that we have had. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, just a reminder, it's one question per member. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honorable Member for Kantanshi for that very important question. Madam Speaker, in fact, we will be coming to this Honorable House for every visit that the Head of State has undertaken to explain in detail the benefits and the purposes of those visits. So that relating to Japan will follow shortly. But I can certainly say that the benefits have already started trickling in for many of the engagements that His Excellency the President has made, not only in this particular year, but for the period since 2021. For example, from the Egypt visit, we now have a clear partnership with the private sector, the Egyptian private sector and our private sector, facilitated by the two governments in the pharmaceutical sector. So we'll soon be able to see more of affordable but effective drugs coming into the country
and also the possibility, in fact, let me say, and also value addition within Zambia in respect of drug manufacturing, which is directly for the benefit of the people of Zambia. This is one of those that has come from the visit to Egypt. There are many others which we shall continue to detail as we go along. But I thank the Honourable Member for Kantanshi, as I earlier mentioned. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for that statement involving your engagement visit, which was quite fruitful. Minister, I just want you to clarify, especially that the Member of Parliament for Mukushi South was not listening to your statement. The 500 million you stated.
The Honourable Member for Solwezi East, please just ask your question without pulling in another member.
Well guided, Madam Speaker. Thank you. Honourable Minister, I want you to clarify the 500 million of what for that investment, targeting what in Kafue, and what does that mean to ZESCO, especially that there was just an allegation of the Minister of Energy increasing ZESCO tariffs. Just clarify, what does that mean? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And again, I wish to thank the Honourable Member for Solwezi East for that question, which allows for a second bite at the cherry. Madam Speaker, in the ministerial statement, we stated quite clearly that the US dollars 500 million is targeted at the electricity sector, beg pardon. And in particular, the joint venture between Toyota Tsusho and Elswidi Electric to establish 2 100 megawatts solar plants in Kafue and Mongu by 2026. The implication of this, Madam Speaker, is quite clear. It speaks for itself. To start, there is already an existing joint venture between ZESCO of Zambia and Elswidi Electric of Egypt. Now, this MOU is aimed at strengthening that relationship to address the concern of energy insufficiency that we are currently facing in the country. And this is just a starting point, Madam Speaker, maybe to emphasize further that once we have these 200 megawatts power plants constructed, solar in particular, renewable energy, there will be further investment, and I'm aware that up to $3 billion is targeted at investing in Zambia through this particular platform that has been created. So what does it mean? The long and short of my response to answer the Honourable Member more directly is that it will address the energy concerns of this country. For the everyday Zambian, you and I, Madam Speaker, it means that we can look towards a time when we'll have a reduction on the hours when we have less energy in our homes. By and large, this is aimed at supporting the Zambian industrial sector, the Zambian people as a whole, so that we can progress and move together with energy sufficiency. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Feira.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I would like to thank the Minister for the detailed statement about the presidential trip. Madam Speaker, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, last time I asked him a question on neo-colonial effects on developing countries. He answered me that, you know, those were issues we're dealing with at the university. I know he's a very good friend of mine, but he didn't answer my question. But today, I want to raise another issue, and I hope he's going to answer. Now, I understand that the Memorandum of Understanding is a non-binding agreement between the parties, obviously with intentions to achieve some shared goals. Now, you've mentioned a number of these Memorandum of Understanding. Now, I want to find out, other than, you know, obviously, which we appreciate, the fact that, you know, you've come up with this statement, what practical steps in terms of engaging the other parties or the other parties with the issues that you're saying have occurred after the trip was made? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And I thank the Honourable Member for Feira for that question. which is not based on neo-colonial practices, but rather on implementation of the various MOUs. Indeed, as the Honourable Member has stated, MOUs are non-binding in their nature, but that does not mean that they are not effective for the purposes of establishing a foundation for cooperation. The two parties to the MOU state their intentions through that particular document. Therefore, it is of significant value in terms of ensuring that the groundwork is laid for this cooperation between the parties. And as I mentioned, there are several MOUs that were signed. Your question is, where does this lead us in terms of implementation? As with any building, you start with a foundation. And the foundation then is what is used to construct the building till it reaches a habitable state. This is exactly what is being done. And I did give an example already of the pharmaceutical sector, where the two private sectors, the private sectors of the two countries are speaking and are putting in place and have put in place actual mechanisms for the manufacture of drugs that are affordable but effective, and also for value addition in the country. What do I mean by value addition? We are talking about the construction and operationalization of manufacturing plants in this country with our counterparts from Egypt as partners. Secondly, we are looking at a framework in which we have joint ventures. Rather than having government lead, we have the private sector leading. And in fact, you would have heard in my ministerial statement that the visit to Egypt were accompanied by Zambian private sector, meaning that we have established a handshake between the Zambian business sector and the Egyptian business sector. Already, that is a practical solution to what we are looking at. And a typical example that we are speaking of as well is the El Swidi-ZESCO partnership, which has been buoyed by the intended or is it the actual injection of capital to allow for the construction of solar power plants in this country. So you can see that there are tangible outcomes from this visit and many more to follow, including in the livestock sector. I think we mentioned that there is this partnership in relation to some of the most crucial animal diseases that we face in this country. In particular, we did mention, for example, bovine pleural pneumonia, which makes it difficult for us to export our livestock products, in particular beef products from this country, because they do not meet a certain phytosanitary or health standard. But now with this partnership and with these vaccines being provided to this country, it means we are opening a door for the export of our products to Egypt and beyond. I think for me, this would be very exciting for all Zambians to listen to, and I can see that our students in the gallery have actually appreciated what we are talking about. I'm sure equally as members of parliament, we do appreciate what we are talking about. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, I think what you went to do is a good thing to attract investment that should come to our country, because it means that our country is going to be a better country if those investments that you talked about come through. Now, Honourable Minister, one thing that investors look at when they are assessing an environment where they need to put their money is the political environment and the legal environment of a country. Now, what is happening at the moment in our country, where people are being, especially politicians, are being arrested on very flimsy charges, you know, arresting someone for just saying, defend yourself with equal measure. You arrest someone on the basis of seditious practices, and also creating unnecessary by-elections where you jail a member of parliament, you create a by-election. So that is counterintuitive.
Member for Chinsali.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
The ministerial statement was very clear.
Yes.
About the visit to Kenya. Now, we don't know where new issues have emerged. Arresting of people, I didn't hear anything being mentioned by the Honourable Minister. Please, you are supposed to seek clarifications from the ministerial statement that was presented. Can you do that? Unless if you don't have a question. Can you be focused?
Being focused, Madam Speaker, I would like to find out from the Honourable Minister that the investment attraction that they went to do that side is being countered negatively by what is happening back here home. So which means that what they went to do may not yield meaningful results. If the investment that they went to attract is supposed to be $100 million, only maybe $8 million will come. So now my point is, Honorable Minister, do you have plans of talking to your neighbor there, my big brother, Honorable Jacob Mwimbu, that they should reduce on these unnecessary arrests so that what you are going to do out there can achieve meaningful results? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I note that in the build-up to the question, the Honourable Member included some speculation around if one wants to bring 100 million, it will reduce on account of... I will not respond to that because it's purely speculative. What I would like to mention here, Madam Speaker, and to answer and thank the Honourable Member for Chinsari for his question, is that in fact our international partners, they acknowledge that Zambia is a country of laws. In fact, the very arrest of
the Honourable Member for Chiengi, please don't debate while seated. Can you refrain from that? The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The very arrest of persons who are alleged to have come in conflict with the law through corrupt and other activity encourages our partners to say this country is no longer one of corruption. It is one in which our investments will be safe, in which culprits who think they can take away foreign direct investment and money intended for the masses will be brought to book. In fact, they are very happy and say, yes, this is a country that we want to partner with because it's a country of laws, where alleged criminals find themselves convicted by competent courts of jurisdiction. A safe haven for their money and for their investment with good partners that fear the law. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Before I take the next member, there's an indication for a point of order. The Honourable Member for Lunte, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to raise on this very important point of order. And Madam, I'm particularly happy for the opportunity because this House is a House of precedence. This House is a House of record. It is critically important for submissions, particularly those coming from ministers, to carry policy significance as well as decency. Madam Speaker, if I were to supplement, I'll add Standing Order number 71. The American ambassador, not long ago, told this UPND government, in the presence of that minister who is on the floor of the House, that there is corruption in the health sector.
The Honourable
Madam
Member,
Speaker,
please.
Madam
Let's
Speaker,
not debate ourselves.
Madam Speaker, the point of order is against the Honourable Minister who is on the floor of the House. And he is the one specifically who was told in person by the American ambassador that there is corruption in the UPND government. Madam Speaker, is he in order to counter a good question by my honourable friend in that fashion as to claim that the international community would be happy that this is a country of laws, when an American ambassador would tell him in his face, and there are no arrests of big fish, they have only arrested small fishes, Madam Speaker. Is he in order to mislead the nation in that fashion? I seek your serious ruling in this.
The Honourable Member for Lunte. That is the reason why we get so many different answers. Remember the question that was raised. It was so political. I cautioned the Honourable Member who was asking the question, can we be focused? But he went astray. The Honorable Minister similarly wanted to answer whatever was raised by the Honorable Member for Chinsari. And the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, I don't think he made a mistake when he said this country has got laws. We have laws which guide this country. So because of that, I wouldn't say that the Honorable Minister was out of order, because it's a fact. This country has got laws. But my guide to this House is that let us try to be focused on the ministerial statement. The minute we become political, then we are going to get political answers, and that does not benefit our people. We want our people to benefit, to understand the ministerial statement that has been given by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. Why did the delegation go to Egypt? How is Zambia benefiting? So for the sake of our people, can we be focused on the ministerial statement that was given by the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation? We make progress. The Honorable Member for Kanyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity I've given to people of Kanyama to ask a follow-up question. And I want to thank the government for updating the nation each time it embarks on foreign tours. However, Madam Speaker, I just want clarity on one issue. I think I heard the Minister talking about local value addition. So, looking at that and looking at the issues that we discussed, where we need partnership, where we're trying to encourage, outsiders to come and invest in the country. However, Madam Speaker, I just want to find out, as we are trying to add value to whatever activities that local activities that the country wants to embark on, are we not considering of coming up with our only Zambian industry that will be a channel through which this local value addition can be enhanced? Madam Speaker, I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honorable Member for Kanyama for that question. Indeed, I can best answer that question by stating that seeking foreign direct investment and strategic partnerships is not mutually exclusive to the local industry also doing what it wants to do within the various sectors. So local participation is a guarantee in the sense that FDI is not meant to exclude our local people. But also, I need to mention, Madam Speaker, that a deliberate policy has been taken by government in respect of local content across the sectors, meaning that we as a government want to encourage through policy, deliberate policy, that any foreign direct investor that comes into this country takes into account the local content, and to the extent that it is possible, of course having regard to expertise, technology and all these matters, that we joint venture with our local Zambians in order for them to make a partnership that benefits the people of Zambia directly. So this is a deliberate policy that is in place, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Bwengwa.
Madam Speaker, thank you. But thank you for your statement. Yeah, to hear about the kind of, the amount, which will be attracted, into this country, about $500 million plus. Now, Honorable Minister, I think it's quite very important, yes, to look at the cost-benefit analysis of this trip which the President undertook and his ministers. On the issue of the amount which was spent when you undertook that trip, because we are quite aware that previously there was a trip, very huge trip, which the former regime undertook to United States of America, where they used a huge amounts of money, but when they came back, the entire trip was equal to zero and there is nothing which was benefited. Yes. But now, kindly help this nation and this house how much money was used, because we don't want to go back to this PF, okay, kind of doing businesses where they were using more than 500 million kwacha for a trip, just going there to be dancing in USA, and when they come here, nothing, no investment at all. Honorable Minister, please kindly assist me. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honorable Member for Wengwa for that important question. Madam Speaker, whilst I'm not able to come up with an exact figure of the amount spent, I can certainly say that, again, it's a policy position that has been taken that with regard to any foreign trips, the delegations, one, are kept to a minimum. The duration of stay is kept to the barest of minimum. I'll give you a typical example that the authority that is given ordinarily would be for the delegation to start making its way back home on the first available flights. So if business ends on Saturday at 11 hours, by 22 hours Saturday at the latest, you must be on the way back, so as to minimize the costs. And also, of course, the number of persons that each delegation, the line ministers, for example, are allowed to carry is kept to a barest of minimum, probably the permanent secretary only and one other officer, if at all. So the delegation to Egypt was equally lean, and certainly you cannot measure the outcome from that particular trip with the cost of undertaking it. Aside from the diplomatic angle, where we strengthened our relationships with Egypt, you cannot put a monetary value to that. In addition, as I've already stated in the ministerial statement, the intended outcomes will result in jobs for Zambians, will result in creation of industry, will result in tangible benefits to the people of Zambia, which far exceed the cost of traveling. And I would dare say as well that the work ethic of the delegation leader, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia, he is on record as stating it's work, work and more work for jobs, for economic sustainability, and for the betterment of the people of Zambia. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Lukulu East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me equally applaud the Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs for this initiative of appraising the House on some of the initiatives that are going on there, in particular the state visit by His Excellency the President to the Arab Republic of Egypt. Madam Speaker, many of us in here have been to Egypt, and we in the Health Committee, 4 of us, are testimony to this bilateral cooperation that is existing between Zambia and Egypt, having visited several pharmaceutical plants in Egypt, and also the United Pharmaceutical Agency, which is now supplying medicines to ZAMSA, which are responsible for filling or indeed stabilizing situation of medicines in our facilities. Honorable Maveta was one of those who also visited Egypt. We also included, Madam Speaker, Honorable Nakaponda and Honorable Ivan Chiwombwe. So basically it was a bipartisan trip to see exactly firsthand what the Honorable Minister is talking about. So, Honorable Minister, I'm sure in your visit you must have seen the development of New Cairo City. And it is a marvel to see how our colleagues are developing a very beautiful city in the middle of nowhere. Were there any discussions as a result of that, whether we intend to bring lessons learned from there to develop a new Lusaka, running away from the congestion, flood-prone and cholera-prone city of Lusaka to a new one? Are there any intentions as a result, or indeed whether you even had discussions around that? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The consultations are too loud. Please lower your voices. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Lukulu East for that very elaborate question. To answer it in very brief terms, Madam Speaker, indeed the delegation did take a tour or a visit to the new Cairo city, and we were able to take best practice from that tour and understand the frameworks and the models that are used in order for that new city to be developed. And coming from there, without specifically talking about the development of a new Lusaka, however, the Honorable Minister of Infrastructure was able to have conversations around how infrastructural development in Zambia can benefit from the experience of our counterparts in Egypt, including from the perspective of housing, which is at short in this country. So yes, there were several positives that came from that visit. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kaumbwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Honourable Minister, thank you so much for that detailed report. We have seen high-level visits by the President and Ministerial to several countries in the world, Japan, China, Brazil, so many countries. You structured more than 5 MOUs, ranging from smart agriculture, transport sector, climate change, and so on. Amongst these MOUs, is there any MOU that as a country we have already an MOU agreement with another country and you had to side with Egypt, but we already have a similar or the same type of MOU agreement with a similar framework agreement? Is there any MOU that is clashing with another MOU from another country in the world? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Kaumbwe for that question. Indeed, there will be many MOUs which are of similar subject matter with different countries. Like as I said earlier, they are not mutually exclusive, they are actually complementary to each other. It does not mean, Madam Speaker, that because we are cooperating in one area, for example, in the area of energy and renewable energy, solar, we'll have several MOUs, not even with countries alone, even on a private sector basis with different partners. The issue is there's enough capacity, and the issue is to bring as many partners, strategic partners, on board as possible so that we can get outcomes from some of them, maybe not all of them, but certainly outcomes that are in favor of the people of Zambia. I hope that is satisfactory to the Honourable Member. Thank you.
The last member, the Honourable Member for Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving the good people of Mbabala an opportunity to ask a follow-up question. Honourable Minister, thank you for this wonderful ministerial statement on the successful trip to Egypt and demonstrating international cooperation between Zambia and Egypt. Minister, a few years ago, the PF government, a group of ministers went to Saudi Arabia and came back with announced that they were going to bring fuel at a very cheap price of 5 kwacha per liter. And we never saw that to fruition. To date, it has remained a lie from the PF regime. Now, Minister, what are the key KPIs that you are going to be having for these annual reports between our group of ministers and the Egyptians for this international cooperation which we are having now? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Mbabala for that question. The Honourable Member paints a very bleak and sad picture of how not to undertake economic diplomacy. Madam Speaker, that is why when the Honourable Member asks as to what are the key performance indicators, KPIs, that we are looking for as a government, amongst the matters that I refer to is one, a strategic way of operating following the undertaking of these foreign visits. What do I mean by this? Each of the strategic visits comes with an action matrix that has been developed jointly with our partners in the foreign countries. So we are therefore accountable on the basis of those action matrices. We have to be able to show to the people of Zambia and of course to the appointing authority, the head of state, who's very particular on these matters, that each of the deliverables that we agreed to undertake in our visits are being undertaken or are being actioned or implemented, failing which we are held accountable. So, Madam Speaker, the KPIs are that we are expected to deliver. It is not a talking shop or an opportunity to go and enjoy oneself when one goes out on these trips. It is work for the benefit of the people of Zambia with tangible outcomes, as I have already labored to explain. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Questions for oral answer, understanding order number 82. The Honourable Member for Serenge.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 395.
The Honourable Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member for Serenge is asking the Minister of Energy a question in two parts. In A, whether the government is aware that farmers relying on the irrigation system in Serenge and other parts of the country are severely affected by the current 3 hours daily power supply load management. And the situation is leading to reduced crop yield and threatening food security. In B, if so, whether the government will urgently consider exempting these farmers from the load management and ensure continuous power supply to sustain agriculture activities. Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. Government is not aware of any farmer in Serenge and other parts of the country that are currently receiving 3 hours of power supply. Under the current load management schedule, farmers are being allocated 10 hours of power supply per day. This arrangement is intended to support critical activities such as irrigation. In any case, if there are cases of power supply being limited to 3 hours or below 10 hours per day, should be considered isolated incidences or system faults. Therefore, we encourage affected farmers, if any, to report such occurrences directly to ZESCO for prompt investigation and resolutions. In B, in view of the existing government policy prioritizing farmers with extended power supply hours, currently farmers are allocated 10 hours of power supply. This intervention, Madam Speaker, is meant to ensure that agriculture activities are sustained to guarantee food security in the country. Further, government will continue to engage farmers through the Zambia National Farmers Union to ensure there is no disruption in agricultural activities. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Serenge.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for that response. Madam Speaker, just allow me to borrow some narratives and contrasts that are usually applied by our Honorable Vice President and the Honorable Minister of Finance. You have talked of about 9 to 10 hours supply. Now, the contrast which I'm trying to make, Madam Speaker, we have Farm X and Farm Y, the neighbor. And then Farm X has got 10 center pivots, and Farm X has equally got also 10 center pivots. Now, due to the low voltages, because you know the system constraints actually, it's like the whole Zambia, so to speak. This is not just in Serenge, Mazabuko, or whatever. It's like the entire country. So, even Shangombo. So, what we are saying is, Honorable Minister of Energy, when these farmers are trying to irrigate, instead of doing the entire 10 center pivots for Farm X and the other one, they would rather probably do 5 each so that they have proper voltages to save their equipment. And then, even after that, even the 9 hours, because what they want is 24-hour service for them to put in proper water to have a good harvest. So all we are saying is that 10 hours or 9 hours is theoretical, but practically it's just 3 hours. And then the entire Zambia combined. We can just say half. So instead of producing properly, I think there was even, sorry, Madam Speaker, there was even some statement which was made yesterday that Central Province is going to provide, to produce a lot of wheat. But that wheat, even if it means 98,000 metric tons.
The Honorable Member. Now
Okay, let me just ask you the question.
The question.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, you said you are not aware. If you are not aware, and ZESCO is not even aware, because you get the same, so what could be the gap? Because this is happening right now, regardless of the farmers reporting. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Madam Speaker, I have said we are not aware of any farmer in Serenge who is receiving 3 hours of power supply. What we are saying is, in engaging the Zambia National Farmers Union, we have agreed and planned activities for agriculture to be supplied by 10 hours. So if there is a challenge in terms of voltage, those are the issues I'm saying were supposed to be reported to ZESCO so that the issue of voltage can be addressed. But according to the schedule we have put in place, we have told ourselves this government is committed to make sure that agriculture activities are supported. Hence, we are providing the 10 hours supply of power to increase in terms of our production. And that is what we are doing as government. So in terms of voltage, we need to quickly inform ZESCO to come in and rectify the challenge. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Ron.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to ask a follow-up question. Recently, Madam Speaker, His Excellency the Republican President commissioned the harvest of winter maize in Central Province, meaning that Central Province is a major contributor of the maize to the national food basket. Madam Speaker, again recently, His Excellency the Republican President commissioned, Honorable Minister, the solar plant in Chisamba district. Honorable Minister, since there is a complaint from the Honorable Member for Serenge of low voltage amongst the farmers who are doing the irrigation, what is the position of government of the 100 kilowatts that was recently commissioned in Chisamba? Can't you at least play some cards and ensure that these farmers are given enough power, both from the ZESCO grid and maybe from the solar. I don't know how you can juggle those things, so that our farmers can continue producing both rain-fed and irrigation produce. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member, for your question. Madam Speaker, in fact, it's not 100 kilowatts. What we commissioned was 100 megawatts for December. And also I want to state that in my response in B, I have stated that we are engaging the Zambia National Farmers Union. These are the people we are consulting to see how we are going to provide adequate services to the people who are irrigating. And that is a government policy which we have introduced to make sure that this country becomes food secure. Now, with the commissioning of the Chisamba solar plant, we have even increased powers for the farmers in the central province from 10 to 12 hours. So issues to do with the voltage, this is why I'm encouraging the honorable member can even take it up himself to inform ZESCOs to check on the voltage, because the voltage can be addressed by ZESCO. But the hours that we are providing for our farmers in the central province, it has even gone to 12 hours. Zambia National Union of Farmers can attest to this, and some of the farmers in Serenge can attest to the fact I'm just saying, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Serenge.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for yet another good answer, but just probably the plea, because these people's crop will be maturing in September. So I don't know when, because you are saying you are engaging the Farmers Union. But when are you just going to give them that 24-hour cycle so that they cover up from what they have lost already? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member. I'm sure the Honorable Member now he has moved from 3 hours to 24 hours. But we were looking on how we can put measures in place to support our farmers who are irrigating. And hence, I've stated that it's not 3 hours. We have pushed from 10 hours to 12 hours of irrigation, of which the farmers, we are even in contact, Madam Speaker. They are even very happy with what we are doing so far, the measures that we have put in place to support our farmers. So issues to have 24 hours supply of power, this is where we are heading to. We are moving by the interventions that we are putting in place, by putting up a number of solar plants around the central province. He is very sure, the honorable member, that very soon we are again going to commission another 25 megawatts so that our farmers in the central province are able to receive sufficient power for irrigation. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm just worried. I know the Minister is trying to give us correct answers, but I'm worried, Madam Speaker, about the issue of low voltage. I think he didn't give exactly what I think the farmers would like to hear. The issue of low voltage, Madam Speaker, is throughout the country. Chiengi is affected badly. Even right here in Lusaka, where I live, most of the time the power that comes is of low voltage. So I would just like to hear from him what the assurance he will give, because he's busy saying it's the ZESCO, but he is more of the authority than ZESCO. I think that's what the honorable member for Serenge is trying to get from the minister. What is the solution of this low voltage? As the minister, we want to know as a nation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member. I'm yet to find out how many farmers are irrigating in Chiengi, so that together we quickly find out solutions, those which they are facing. But however, Madam Speaker, the reason why I'm saying these are the matters ZESCO can address, because this is the utility company we have given the mandate to run our power supply. And this is where our experts are. So if our farmers in Serenge are facing the voltage challenges, we need to report that so that ZESCO can come on board to increase on the voltage. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kankoyo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, indeed, we thank the Minister and the President for this bold decision they have taken to diversify our source of power. However, Madam Speaker, I wanted to find out from the Minister here, what could be the real cause of low voltage? Is it generation, transmission, or distribution? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Member. Indeed, that question, Madam Speaker, can only be precisely responded to by our expert after assessing what is causing the low voltage. For now, Madam Speaker, I'm not in the position to know exactly what is causing the low voltage. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kasenengwa.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to ask a question. Madam Speaker, the Minister of Energy wants to know if I'm a farmer. Yes, I am a farmer. Madam Speaker, we want to find out from the Minister of Energy, because this power issue has affected a lot of industries. As we are talking now, not only in Serenge, but even in other parts of the country, those who use irrigation for their farming have actually, and they have ventured maybe into winter maize and so on. They have not planted at full capacity because of the shortage of constant power supply. And the assurance from the minister that they are now moving towards the 24-hour supply system is very exciting to them. Now, the question is, how soon are they going to implement the 24-hour supply so that the farmers who have been planting at half capacity, below what they always do, will begin to prepare and plant what they always plant before this load shedding hit us so badly? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honourable Member. Madam Speaker, I was stating that there are a number of interventions that we are putting in place which will lead us to 24 hours supply of power. And Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member may be aware that there are a number of projects that we have put in the solar explosion, which will help this country to address the power challenges that we are facing. Hence, I have stated that this is where we are heading to because of the interventions that we are putting in place. So, to state how long is how fast we are going to implement all these interventions that we have put in place. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Farrer.
I'd forgotten almost. Madam Speaker, I've been wondering, sitting here, the Minister has been asked a question that why is there low, the load is low in those farming areas, and these are productive areas. He keeps on saying that that's an issue that should have been taken to ZESCO. But this House is here to address issues that raised by members of Parliament as representatives of the people. Is it, I'm getting the impression that the Minister doesn't talk to ZESCO. Why can't, after learning this, is it not possible for you to go to ZESCO and resolve this issue so that the farmers have adequate power? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for that question, Honorable Member. Madam Speaker, ZESCO are mandated to run our power supply utility company. And indeed, when we have got such kind of challenges, they have to be alerted, especially like we have heard that in Serenge, farmers, they have to reduce on the numbers of their equipments to be used at a particular time. So this is being arised from low voltage. This is why I have said we need to report such kind of challenges that we are facing so that ZESCO are able to go and attend to the challenge. Because these are this is the utility which is mandated to provide that kind of service. Hence, we require to inform them so that they are able to address the challenge that we are facing as farmers. Thank you.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Shuangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, we are reporting to you what is coming from the people so that you can go to ZESCO and tell ZESCO that there are these challenges, because that's our role to represent our people, and going to ZESCO. Madam Speaker, the other problem, the farmers of Serenge and in other areas, including citizens, are complaining about, Madam Speaker, apart from the low power voltage and the prolonged hours of road shedding, is the cost of power. To the extent that, Madam Speaker, now citizens are saying when they buy the first week of the month, they get a little bit more units than when they get at the ordinary times, like maybe in the middle of the month or towards the end of the month. Can you explain to the people, Honorable Minister, what is ZESCO, what mechanism ZESCO is using in terms of the cost of the tariff cost for the power that our consumers are getting, including the farmers of Serenge? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member. Madam Speaker, the question was all about how many hours we are supplying power to the farmers. And if there are issues to do with the charges or the tariffs, Madam Speaker, that's a different question. And for now, I don't have the right to confirm whether the Honorable Member, what he's saying, is what is happening on the ground. So for now, I was responding to the hours that are affecting our farmers in terms of increasing the production. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Motion, the Honorable Member for Chavuma.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Zambian delegation to the 57th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum Plenary Assembly held in Victoria Falls City, Zimbabwe from 31st March 31st to 7th June 2025, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 25th July 2025.
Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker, it is seconded.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Funaburi. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Zambian delegation to the 57th Southern Africa Development Community Parliamentary Forum, SADIC PF, Plenary Assembly, held in Victoria Falls City, Zimbabwe from 31st May to 7th June 2025 for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 25th July 2025. Any debate? The Honorable Member for Chavuma.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 154 of the National Assembly, Standing Orders 2024, I stand to give a report on the activities of the 57th SADIC PF Plenary Assembly session, highlighting the key recommendations made by the Assembly. Madam Speaker, the 57th SADC Parliamentary Assembly session convened under the theme Harnessing Artificial Intelligence, AI, for effective and efficient parliamentary processes in the SADC region, experiences, challenges, and opportunity. The Assembly was officially opened by His Excellency Dr. Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and SADC Chairman, who described the theme as timely, relevant. He emphasized that AI and digital technologies offer transformative potential for legislative processes, citizen engagement, and inclusivity, particularly in multilingual societies. The President further called for regional cooperation in digital literacy, research, innovation, and cross-border technology investment. He outlined Zimbabwe's efforts in technology investment, including the establishment of innovation hubs and the enactment of the Cyber and Data Protection Act, aimed at securing the ethical and responsible use of AI. Madam Speaker, the President, Dr. Mnangagwa, urged the delegates to ensure that African values and priorities shaped application of new technologies, preserving sovereignty, democratic traditions, people-centered governance. He reaffirmed the political will of the SADC heads of state to support the institutionalization of the forum's role in regional integration and the democratic development. Further, Madam Speaker, the House may wish to note that the Plenary Assembly also considered country reports on the implementation of the resolutions of the 56th Plenary Assembly held in Livingstone, Zambia in December 2024. Other reports considered included Standing Committee reports, the report of the Regional Women's Parliamentary Caucus, the report of the joint sitting of standing committees, the Executive Committee report on policy and administrative matters, and the Treasurer's report. In addition, Madam Speaker, 4 motions and 1 statement were also considered, in accordance with the forum's rules of procedure. Madam Speaker, allow me now to highlight some of the key recommendations made by the Plenary Assembly. Madam Speaker, the Plenary Assembly approved resolution urging Member States to embrace the adoption of AI technologies, recognizing AI as an irreversible global trend with transformative benefits that significantly outweighed its associated risks. In this regard, Madam, there was need for SADC parliaments to undertake comprehensive assessments of their existing systems, including infrastructure, human resource capacity and skills gaps as basis for developing national strategic roadmaps for AI adoptions. These assessments should also incorporate the consideration of potential ethical, legal, and social risks associated with AI technologies. Further, Madam Speaker, the Plenary Assembly adopted the resolution urging Member States to urge that the adoption of AI promoted inclusivity by bridging the digital divide, ensuring that no citizen or community, particularly those in rural and underserved areas, was left behind. Parliamentarians were also called upon to provide effective oversight to guarantee equitable access to AI technologies and digital literacy for all. Madam Speaker, the plenary also upheld the resolution urging parliaments to call upon their governments to mobilize domestic resources and promote public-private partnership aimed at modernizing national digital infrastructure to support implementation of AI, including investment in computing power, data storage, and advanced digital ecosystems. Madam Speaker, the House may further wish to note that a resolution urging member states to support the implementation of targeted AI forecast capacity building programs for parliamentarians and parliamentary staff with the aim of enhancing AI literacy, ethical awareness, and practical application of AI in legislative and oversight functions was also made. Madam Speaker, member states were further urged to enact appropriate legislation and policies that facilitated the responsible and ethical adoption of AI while safeguarding individual rights, privacy, and national security. As I wind up, Madam Speaker, the House may be interested to note that the Plenary Assembly adopted the resolution calling on SADIC Parliamentary Forum to expedite the finalization of model law on artificial intelligence to guide member parliaments in formulating and strengthening national legislation and regulatory frameworks on AI. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I wish to express profound gratitude to you and the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly for the guidance and support rendered to the delegation during the undertaking. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chief Navuli.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for granting me the opportunity to second this important motion. Allow me from the outset to commend Mr. Victor Lumai, Member of Parliament for Chavuma, for ably moving the motion. Madam Speaker, as rightly indicated by the mover, the 57th Plenary Assembly was held under the theme Harnessing Artificial Intelligence, AI, for effective and efficient parliamentary process in the SADC region, experiences, challenges, and opportunities. Madam Speaker, in the symposium reaffirmed that AI is no longer a futurist concept, but a transformative tool already reshaping governance, communication, and public service delivery. It is imperative, therefore, for AI to be proactively embraced, not only as a driver of efficiency, but also a means of strengthening democracy, enhancing transparency, and promoting citizen engagement. Madam Speaker, Zambia's country report to the symposium reaffirmed the National Assembly's commitment to digital transformation as outlined in its ICT Strategy Plan 2022 to 2026, which aims to establish a smart, transparent, and inclusive parliament. Notably, initiatives under this plan include the internally developed My e-Parliament mobile application and the e-chamber system, both designed to enhance real-time citizen engagement, streamline document management, and enable electronic voting. Further, Madam Speaker, the National Assembly of Zambia highlighted its ongoing efforts to use AI to automate key functions. These include using AI to process members' questions and avoid repetition, automatically transcribe debates using audio to text technology, apply sentiment analysis to help draft the order paper, and use natural language processing to detect unparliamentary language during debates. AI tools are also being explored to improve search functions for presiding officers and procedural staff. Madam Speaker, the symposium made it clear that while AI offers great opportunity, it must be used responsibly and within clear regulations. Speakers stressed the need for ethical, right-based frameworks that ensure fairness, transparency, and accountability. Zambia also supports the call by fellow SADC member states for a unified regional legal framework to guide the state and responsible use of AI in Parliament. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that Zambia remains fully supportive of the transformation of the SADC Parliamentary Forum into a fully fledged SADC regional parliament. The House may wish to note that 13 SADC member states have since signed the agreement amending the SADC Treaty to establish the SADC Parliament, with Botswana being the most recent, Madam Speaker, having signed on 26 March 2025. Furthermore, Madagascar and Mauritius are excited to sign the agreement during the 45th SADC Heads of State and Government Summit, scheduled for August 2025 in Madagascar. With these few words, Madam Speaker, I wish to thank you and I beg to second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Feira.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow the people of Feira to also just add on a few words. Let me start by thanking the mover of the motion, Honorable Mai, and the seconder for ably moving this motion. Madam Speaker, the importance and the fundamental values of the SADC PF is well known in this House. We've debated the issue of SADC PF as well as artificial intelligence before. However, I would like to just underscore the statement made at the official opening by His Excellency Emerson Mnangagwa, President of Zimbabwe, as well as SADC Chairperson. Madam Speaker, he said that there was need for a shared spirit of unity and commitment to integration, industrialization, peaceful and democratic Southern Africa. Madam Speaker, these are fundamental issues. I know the report is about how AI can be used by Parliament, but we are looking at how AI can move to achieve these important issues. Madam Speaker, he also, in his opening remarks, at official opening, raised an issue of development of the SADC election norms to have free and fair elections. Madam Speaker, this is very important. Even as we talk about artificial intelligence, we need to look at how governance is run within the SADC. And this is one of the core goals of the SADC Parliamentary Forum. And it is clear that we are still far with all these issues. He also talked about the industrial revolution, technological advancement, and the industrial hubs. But more importantly, he mentioned that as we move from where we are into the use of AI in Parliament of the SADC member states, African values and priorities must shape the process of employing new technology. Madam Speaker, my problem is that these AI issues emanate from Europe, they are brought to us, and we just embrace them as they come. It is important for us to evaluate ourselves, our development stage, our cultures, and many other things. And I agree with the seconder that these issues must be looked at cautiously. Madam Speaker, the report gives an impression that this AI, yes, the challenges have been noted, but that AI should be embraced. But in my view, this should take a very slow pace. The idea is very simple. It can undermine our business in the houses within SADC because it's a new thing. And one of the issues that we'd like to avoid is that, we get convinced to use AI basically as consumers. The main beneficiaries will be companies that produce these products. And indeed, in my view, I think we should take it that slowly. But also, Madam Speaker, the British themselves, the owners of these parliaments, I keep saying this, Madam Speaker, in the view that we adopted a system of the British. They have taken a very extremely slow pace in embracing AI. You would be surprised that even voting is still very manual. So, Madam Speaker, with those few words, I just want to register that we need to be very cautious as we embrace these new technologies as SADC as well as a country. With those few words, Madam Speaker, I thank you and I beg to move.
Thank you. The Honourable Member, this Parliament is not for, you said the British. This is a Zambian Parliament for the people of Zambia. Thank you. Pardon? I was just trying to correct you because people will be, you misled the people actually. This is a house or parliament for the people of Zambia. We make progress. The Honourable Member for Shiwangan.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for permitting me a chance to make a few comments on a motion ably moved by Honorable Lumai and seconded by Honorable Nyemba, who are our representatives at the SADIC PF. And they have been sharing with us the resolutions adopted in their 57th SADC Assembly, SADC PF Assembly, which they just came from. Madam Speaker, even before I make a comment on the resolutions made, I keep emphasizing, and I want to repeat to my colleagues who form the delegation that goes to the SADC PF, that indeed they've made a lot of recommendations which are very critical for the parliamentary jurisdiction of SADC. But their enforcement and their adoptions, Madam Speaker, more often than not, are just for lamentation, for us to debate, and that's it. That's how it has been. And I think time has come, dear colleagues, that we must come back with practical recommendations on how jurisdictions will be compelled to implement the recommendations coming from that platform, for it to be meaningful, Madam Speaker, because it's an odd forum which has existed for a number of years, and yet the reports are just the same. Madam Speaker, coming to the recommendations adopted, indeed, digital transformation is the way to go for SADC parliamentary systems. And I'm saying this because here we cannot imagine what would have happened, Madam Speaker, during the advent of COVID-19, when we all didn't know what was going to happen. So if we didn't have the digital platforms that were then implemented, we were going to find it difficult to transact business, Madam Speaker, during that difficult time. So the digital transformation is indeed a way to go. And the recommendations are coming at a better time. But you should have also been speaking to the budget allocation that goes with these programs. It costs a lot to implement new programs. Madam Speaker, both the seconder and the mover and the seconder of the motion have emphasized the need to adopt the artificial intelligence as being among the tools to utilize in our institutions. But they have also emphasized the need to observe sovereignty of nations, because that's what then borders on national security. And this brings in the responsible use of artificial intelligence. And Madam Speaker, I would like to say that in the recommendation of making ensuring capacity building is among the programs, is coming also at the critical time when we are about to establish a training institute for this institution. So let this be part of their priority capacity building programs in capacitating honorable members of parliament. Because sometimes out of ignorance, people have ended up using gadgets, digital gadgets, recklessly, and thereby endangering the security of the nation. It could be by ignorance, or it could be deliberate. But when they are emphasizing that as we implement these programs, we must have legal frameworks to also guide the implementation and usage of the artificial intelligence, they are spot on. Because now, even when we have the few pieces of legislation which we passed in this August House, the application doesn't seem to be effective. Because certain people can flout and breach the laws of the cyber laws and get away with it, while others are being punished for the similar offenses. In fact, some of those who are being punished are the ones who commit lesser offenses. So, Madam Speaker, we agree with the delegation on the emphasis to ensure that the responsible use of this artificial intelligence we are trying to embrace is not ignored. They've talked about ethical issues. It's important that as we go into these areas of technology, we also don't put aside our ethics. Because as institutions of legislating, of offering oversight functions, we need to be on speed. How are we going to hold other institutions accountable insofar as the use of artificial intelligence is concerned if we don't provide the legal framework? And later on, oversight, checks and balances on these state institutions and quasi-state institutions that are going to implement the SIs. So, Madam Speaker, the recommendations coming from SADIC PF are timely, because indeed we need to provide guidance as we pass legal frameworks for the usage of these very important platforms. Madam Speaker, I've already talked about training. We need to find resources, Madam Speaker, as an institution to capacitate our new training facility, our new training institution, so that they can be well ahead before we start implementing this exercise. Madam Speaker, the usage of technology and artificial intelligence can be very useful and can be harmful as well, and can endanger the security of the nation if we don't pay attention to the legal frameworks as designed to suit that application. Every leader must be responsible in the usage of the artificial intelligence, and we must not use it as a pretext to do wrong things. It's a useful tool which should not be misused and which should be used as a pretext for wrongdoing. Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, hold wrongdoers accountable for their mischief. And they shouldn't use this SI as an excuse to escape being punished for wrongdoing. That's why I don't receive phone calls. Madam Speaker, it's very cardinal, and I'm speaking this because I know my successor is here, that let the law be applied fairly and equitably to wrongdoers. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chavuma wind-up debate.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to thank the second of this motion, Honorable Nyemba, representing the wonderful people of Chifunaburi. Allow me also to thank contributions from the people of Fera and the wonderful people of Shwangandu for supporting this motion. Madam Speaker, it is very clear that as a committee, we have been reminded that we track the resolutions, those which have been adopted and those which have not been adopted. And we have got trust in our secretariat, Madam Speaker. We are going to do the needful so that those recommendations which have not yet been adopted, I'm sure that other recommendations have been adopted, while others are yet to be adopted, but we'll track and see which ones are those. Finally, Madam Speaker, allow me to thank the whole House for supporting this report. I beg to move, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pardon? I put the question. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Zambian delegation to the 57th Southern African Development Community Parliamentary Forum, SADIC PF, Plenary Assembly, held in Victoria Falls City, Zimbabwe from 31st May to 7th June 2025, for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 25th July 2025. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. The clerk will now read the orders of the day.
The Superior Court's number of judges bill, National Assembly Bill number 15 of 2025, second reading.
The Honorable Minister of Justice, the Acting Minister of Justice. All the honorable members.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill be now read a second time.
The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Any debate? The Acting Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to ask the House to take judicial notice of the principles that were presented before this House when I introduced the bill. The principles are clear and have been accepted by members of this august House. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any further debate? The chairperson of the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance, the Honorable Member for Katombola.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 207J of the National Assembly Standing Orders 2024.
Order. There is an indication for a point of order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Shuangandu, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's a serious procedural point of order. Madam Speaker, the Acting Minister of Justice is a very senior member of this august House, and he knows that at this stage, he as Acting Minister is supposed to read the objectives to this august House of the bill that is proposing to move for second reading. It's not procedural to just state in the manner he has stated, Madam Speaker. I seek your serious guidance.
Order, honorable members.
But if we
Maybe they can't find it anywhere in the office.
Give them time. Okay. The minister can put that speech.
Okay.
So we'll proceed with the other business and we'll get back to this. You use your discretion. Yeah, I think it's great.
Order, honorable members. There was a point of order that was raised. I was just making some consultations. Truly, the minister was supposed to read the objectives of the bill as usual, but I'm sure the Minister of Justice, do you have it, Honorable Minister?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to state the objects of this particular bill. The object of this particular bill is to increase the number of judges in the High Court and the number of judges in the Court of Appeal. We are presenting to this House a proposal and an intention to increase the number of superior judges as per provisions of the law. Those are the objectives, Madam Speaker. I thank
you. Now that is clear, can we make progress? Can we make progress? We make progress. Any further debate? The Honorable Chairperson of the Committee of Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance, the Honorable Member for Katombola.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 207J of the National Assembly Standing Orders 2024, the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance was tasked to consider the Superior Court's number of judges bills, the Superior Court's number of judges bill National Assembly Bill number 15 of 2025, refer to it on Wednesday, 16th July 2025. Madam Speaker, I will highlight a few observations and recommendations by the committee, since the honorable members have already read the report of the committee. Madam Speaker, the committee notes that the High Court is primarily Zambia's most accessible superior court, vested with unlimited and original jurisdiction in civil and criminal matters, as well as broad appellate and supervisory powers over the subordinate courts. The committee, therefore, commends the proposed increase in the number of High Court judges from 60 to a maximum of 100. This will address the judiciary's capacity crisis and uphold the constitutional principles enshrined in Article 18 of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to a fair trial, and Article 118, Sub-Article 2, which requires that justice be administered without discrimination or delay. The committee recommends that there should be a periodical review of prescribed number of judges in accordance with the rate at which the population of Zambia grows. Madam Speaker, increasing the number of judges will enable greater diversity in knowledge, experience, and specialization within the judiciary. This is inevitably important in that it will cement the progressive inclination towards specialization in the courts, which can be seen in the establishment, Madam Speaker, of divisions of the High Court, such as the Industrial Relations Court, the Commercial Court, and the Family and Children's Court, in accordance with the provisions of Article 120 of the Constitution. Madam, the committee also supports the increase in the number of judges of the superior courts and believe this will facilitate the establishment of more specialized courts and strengthening the overall quality of justice. The committee, however, notes that the increase in the number of judges will come with financial implications and infrastructural challenges. The committee therefore recommends that the executive should ensure that this increase is proportional to investment in the court infrastructure, administrative staff, and technological advancement such as the e-filing systems. The committee further recommends that comprehensive reference material such as online library and other resources to facilitate research and sound adjudication should be provided. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I would like to place on record the gratitude of the committee to all the stakeholders who tendered both written and oral submissions. The committee wishes to thank you, Madam, and the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly for the guidance and support rendered to it. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the chance to comment on the bill under consideration to be read the second time. Madam Speaker, the decision which may arise from the passing of this bill would be increase the number of High Court judges from 60 to 100, that is an increase by 40, increase the number of judges in the Court of Appeal from 19 to 31, that is an increase of 12. Altogether, increase the judges by 42. Madam Speaker, the problems that have been highlighted in terms of cases which are not disposed of on time as a result of having fewer charges is understood. Madam Speaker, that notwithstanding, government needs to be making scientific decisions. Government needs to be analyzing problems comprehensively and then take decisions on a scientific basis. Madam Speaker, isn't it good to add to the number of judges? It is good. But just take a moment to ask a few questions. Where are those judges going to be operating from? What is the number of courtrooms right now? What is the number of chambers right now, Madam Speaker, enabling infrastructure, enabling architecture, enabling technology. These are very important ingredients that government ought to take into account. Madam Speaker, you may say government will increase the budget for the judiciary and therefore courtrooms will be expanded. Those who have at sight to the medium-term budget plan will tell you that the increments that have been proposed for 2026, 2027 and 2028 are so meager such that they can't expand not even one courtroom, Madam Speaker. But you have forgotten that these same judges will require transport. They will require all the support. They will require supporting staff. They will require all of these things that judges require to deliver their work effectively. Madam Speaker, it is not just a matter of adding numbers. You have to add dignity to the people that you are placing into those high places. A judge must be respected, Madam Speaker. Yes, they can share a courtroom. Yes, they can share, chambers. Will judges begin to share offices, Madam Speaker? Where is the dignity of judges? If you subject them to sharing offices, where they keep their personal issues, where they meet, people, some of them are going to see them on business grounds and others are going to see them on business grounds. Madam Speaker, it is important for UPND government to make sure that they don't just increase the numbers of judges, but also expand the architecture to be able to afford the judges to work with dignity, Madam Speaker. Not this eating at Judge Kulia. What type of eating are you talking about? Madam Speaker, Judge Kulia, judge is not eating. Judge, it is to deliver justice, Madam Speaker. To deliver justice. Madam Speaker, the only way you deliver...
Order, Honorable Member Folunte. Order. The Honorable Member Folunte, you mentioned Judge Tekulia. Can you please translate?
Madam, the judge must deliver justice for the people. The judge is not there to eat. Because some people think that judge is eating. That's what they think. But these judges, these 42 judges addition, Madam, they should be added with an imagination that we are adding...
Honorable Member for Lunte, the translation is not complete. What is eating? What is the judge eating? Just make it... We are lost, Honorable Member. Can you finish your translation?
Yeah, Madam Speaker, thank you so much. Madam, Judge Kulia, as was established in a conversation, means for the judge it is eating in order for them to deliver justice, or justice influenced by eating. Now, these 42 should not be thought as though they will be influenced by eating. They should be influenced by dignity.
Honorable
Madam
Member
Speaker.
for Lunte, you are not debating on account of somebody. This is your debate. Can you be focused? When I'm asking you to translate, it's you, because it's you who has mentioned the word, not another person. We want you to translate what exactly you mean.
I should go back.
If you can't translate, just withdraw it and make progress.
Madam Speaker, I wish to appreciate your counsel, which is clearly audible. I wish to continue by indicating that UPND government should think of judges as bringing judges in dignity. In dignity, Madam. And to provide dignity, provide supporting architecture to these 42 judges. Don't act as though it is MPs you want to expand by 92 without expanding the chamber. No, those are judges, Madam. expand the infrastructure for them. Show that you respect them. Show that these are people who will deliver justice not only to MPs whose seats have been affected, but by all Zambians who seek justice, Madam Speaker. Madam, I would like to submit that this particular proposal...
Order. Order. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a healthy break.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for still being with us on Parliamentary Television. Business of the House has been suspended for a 20-minute health break, and we expect business of the House to resume at about 17 hours. And at the time business was being suspended, the House was considering the Superior Court's number of judges bill, National Assembly Bill number 15 of 2025, which is being considered at second reading. And on the floor of the House was Lunte, Member of Parliament, Mr. Mutoto Kakwaya, debating this bill. So when business resumes, we expect him to continue with his debate.
And earlier on when business resumed at 14:30, the First Deputy Speaker did make announcements, and the first announcement that was made was to acquaint the House with the presence in the Speaker's gallery of the following members of Parliament and staff from the Parliament of Kenya, and accompanied by officials from the Westminster Foundation of Democracy Kenya office. And the first one was Honorable Abidi Shuri, MP, Chairperson of the Public Data and Privatization Committee and leader of the delegation. Honorable Ombako Milembe, MP, member of the Public Data and Privatization Committee and member of the Speaker's panel.
And the third one was Honorable Dr. Robert Pupos, MP, Vice Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee. Honorable Sukuya George Risa, MP, Member, Finance and Planning Committee. Mr. Chacha Manjench, Senior Fiscal Analyst, Parliamentary Budget Office and Delegation Secretary. And Mr. Livingston Owumbe, Senior Deputy Director, National Treasury, Public Debt Management Office.
Others were Ms. Josephine Cherotichi, Principal Resource Mobilization Officer, National Treasury Public Debt Management Office, and Ms. Maureen Odure, and this is the WFD Country Director, and Mr. Henry Benjamin Awino, WFD Program Coordinator. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, the First Deputy Speaker did warmly welcome the guest to the Assembly.
Madam First Deputy Speaker also recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Hope of Glory School in Kabwe District and pupils and teachers from Chisamba Boarding Provincial STEM School in Chisamba District. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
Others that were welcomed to the National Assembly of Zambia were officials from, that's the UPND officials from Mumbwa Parliamentary Constituency in Mumbwa District. So those were the announcements that were made earlier on when business resumed at 14:30. After that consideration, we did see the Minister of Energy presenting a ministerial statement, and that ministerial statement was that's the Minister of International Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. It was on the state visit to the Arab Republic of Egypt undertaken by the President, Ms. Hakainde Hichilema, and the question came from, was posed to the Minister of Energy.
Yes, and this question came from Serenje, Member of Parliament, Mr. George Kandafula, and we'll be able to share with you the details of this question later on. In the House has also considered one motion that was moved by Chavuma, Member of Parliament, Mr. Victor Lumai. And so far this is business that has been considered on the floor of the House. Just now we go on a break. Remember, business of the House will resume at 17 hours. Keep watching Parliament Television. Good afternoon.